It's an ACC showdown, Mason. It's Clemson at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is a 6.5-point dog at home after a overtime defeat last week against Syracuse, and of course Clemson taking an L to the big L that is Louisville. They're at home in Death Valley. Pretty excruciating loss for Clemson in that one, as you know, Clemson really only scored 7 points all the way until the fourth quarter of that game, and Louisville's been a team that's given up a lot of points, and Clemson has been a team that we talked about this year, Mason, that the offense has gotten a lot better. It looked like it kind of reverted back to what our preconceived notion of this offense was from last year a little bit. Not a great showing from wide receivers this past week. Nobody really relatively close to 100 yards. Nobody with a touchdown receiving. There might have been one receiving touchdown, but I digress. You see what I'm saying? Um, the running attack was very good in this past week, and I'm interested to see how that translates over against Virginia Tech here on the road. This is going to be a raucous environment. Virginia Tech is one of those football teams where, you know, maybe if they've only won one or two games in the year, you're not going to have some kind of big home field show out and all the fans show up. But this has been a team that's been in a lot of games this year, right? Games maybe they shouldn't have been in against Miami, right? Last week, they were right there. Could have, should have, maybe won that game last week. Um, Virginia Tech is pesky, man. And they've got a decent little offensive system going on, you know, with Kyron Drones. And I'm really interested to see how this Clemson defense is able to rebound after a loss like that. It seemed like a very frustrating loss for Clemson last week. How do you think they bounce back this week going on the road to Virginia Tech? Clemson has got to go put that behind them and go take care of business, man, because an ACC title is still on the line, even though they've got a loss.
Yeah, I think Clemson has to be looking at everything and saying, all right, our backs are against the wall here. What can we do defensively against Colin Schlee and this Virginia Tech offensive attack? I really like Virginia Tech's running backs. I think they got a pretty good stable of backs there, and Coney and Thomas and Lane. Lane kind of being that third wheel there, but a pretty effective runner nonetheless. Um, Without Kyron Drones in this football game, I think that you're missing that threat. Although Colin Schlee has run the ball a lot, he's not nearly as effective as Kyron Drones was. I don't think he's as good of a passer as Kyron Drones was. Not very effective in the Syracuse game. Started off pretty strong. I thought he played really well in the first half, but as the game went on, he made some mistakes. Some poor decisions, and ultimately Syracuse, I think, just kind of outplayed Virginia Tech. Without your star quarterback, it's tough to win football games in the ACC against a tough defense in Syracuse. But nonetheless, I'm looking to Virginia Tech to really feed Stephen Gosnell. He ended up with 118 yards last week, no touchdowns, but between him and Daquan Felton, I mean, they've got the receivers to do it. Malachi Thomas coming out of the backfield, he's been pretty effective as well. I'm anxious to see what Colin Schlee does. I think that this game for Virginia Tech has to be. I mean, you have to look at Colin Schlee and say we're going to win or lose with him, right? At this point, and he's a guy who's got some experience in college football, but so far hasn't been super effective in this offense. Going up against Clemson's defense, I think that is the area you want to attack against Clemson is the secondary. We saw Louisville have some success in the run game last week. Scored some touchdowns. All of their touchdowns actually came on the run against Clemson, but I don't think that you get that version of Clemson's defense 2 weeks in a row. Clemson's defense will come into play in this football game, and also the offense. That the offense has been really explosive throughout the season. This past week, they didn't really show that. So you're going to get a different side of Clemson than you've seen so far, or that you saw last week, I should say. You'll probably see Clemson, come back to come back to reality, I guess, in a sense, and kind of snap back into the football team that we've seen them kind of be all season long, absent the Georgia game. tough loss for for Clemson going up against Louisville. I think that they come back and put together a really strong outing on the road in Blacksburg there, and I think that they're able to get the win here.
Yeah, I think Clemson can get the win in this one as well. Wouldn't be surprised if Virginia Tech's able to hold it close. I don't know if they're able to hold it within that number though. You'll have to tune in Thursday, guys. We've got a betting show every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. That is. It's called Between the Lines. It's our weekly best bets against the spreads, the half totals, all the game totals, over unders, blah blah blah, all that stuff. You like talking football, you like betting on college football, that's the show for you. Again, we do it every Thursday, and we're live here every Saturday night, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, said betting show. Thank you so much for tuning in the First and Long College Football Show.